Picking it up in the next video, and what we've done, we're going to start using our extrude command. Again, there are all kinds of ways to change this, to go to 3D and the like, but learning the basic Boolean operators and extrudes is incredibly important. One thing I will point out, that things that you see in terms of Boolean operators that are union, intersect, subtract, they can be done using regions or using 3D solids. So for instance, we can say union and grab this shape and this shape, and it makes it into one region. You'll see later we're going to do that in terms of solids as well. So we're going to try this. We're going to just do extrude, pick this, and if you notice we had 0.5 across. I'm going to keep these pretty small. I'm extruding that 0.1, and if you notice over here it was extruded. I'm going to do another one, extrude, collect this one, 0.2, and you see it there. Now realize when you've got different screens going, it's a great idea to immediately have one maybe in a basic wireframe mode and another one in something that makes more sense, perhaps something like a realistic or a render mode, depending on how fast your computer is. And so I'm going to type visual styles and double click on the 2E wireframe, and now as I go forward, the screen on the left will be black and white, and you can see there's one of my regions that are missing right in there. I still got a hole when I went through it. So that's kind of that one of the other great things about doing 2D, 3D. Most of the rest of this is still in 3D, is still in 2D. There's two pieces that have been pushed out to 3D. I'm just going to continue, extrude, select an object here, 0.3, try it again, extrude, 0.3, and it did it. Extrude, 0.4, and it did it. Extrude. And if you notice, as I'm grabbing on one window, the other window is being highlighted. 0.5, 0.5. Try it again. Extrude. 0.5. Extrude. Can grab over here. 0.6. Extrude. Minus 0.6. Extrude. Taper angle, I don't know, 3.7. So you can imagine the kind of things you can do immediately. I'm just going to kind of zip on through the rest of these without doing all 35 because we won't have time, but I'm going to try extrude. .8, extrude, minus 0.8, extrude, maybe 0.9, and then finally, to show you, you can do lots more, but I'm just going to do a couple of combines by using a union. And a union this one, and now there are one piece. You can change the color, you can change all kinds of different stuff, but what you've made here now is some entities that will transfer into other modeling software as solids, right? So what we look at here is we've got a bunch of line work, some of it's 2D, some of it's 3D, but there's a lot of things that are solid. If you look right here, you can see that tapering and revolving. I'm just going to do two more here just so you can see the revolve, and I'll do it with this piece right here. We're going to say revolve. I'm going to grab that piece there, And then we're going to do it by define an axis near to that point and near to that point, and we're going to revolve at 360 degrees, and you see we've got another solid there. So that ends for now the AutoCAD portion of this, though we'll come back to it later and look at how we can use things like solid view, solid draw. We've made a 3D model which can be definitely taken into the next program we're going to deal with, and that is SketchUp. I will warn you that my expectation is that my computer will explode on SketchUp in here, though we do have a few computers at Midstate which will be capable then of doing this type of work as we increase the RAM capacity of our computers and also look at the kind of newer engines that are out there. So I'm going to go ahead. Remember to file save as, usually a little bit backwards. So we're going to file it save as an 04 drawing. We're going to call this extruded work. We're going to call this golden rectangle play. All right, so we have saved a bunch of solids. That's what these things are. If we list something like this, I'm going to finish out the last 10 minutes looking around some commonalities here. That is a 3D solid list. Perhaps that is a region. We want to point out the idea of the lower boxes, but mostly the commonality of the interface to say mass prop. So if I do mass prop on this thing there, I'm going to get a bunch of 3D coordinates and product of gyration, radius of gyration, centroids, bounding boxes, volume. And if I do it on mass prop, which is on the inquiry toolbar, if I do it on something that's not a solid, let's say that little piece over here, I get the same type of thing. I will point out, because of people not necessarily understanding units, if you're doing this and want to get some real information on things, it's best not to be in a decimal drawing, but to be in an architectural where your base is inches. And that way you'll see some of the units come out a little clearer. Finally, we can go ahead and remember we can change colors of things. We generally don't, but now as we're looking at being creative, we can go ahead and change colors, not of the layer, but by using something kind of key here, which is our quick properties. We should be able to change our quick properties to color, right? We don't have that defined here, but it's a great thing to go ahead and adjust what you have up on your quick properties. Right, so in this case, I'm not going to change that. Discard there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just change here. If we go ahead and right-click, go to our Properties toolbar, we can change the color of that to be green. And we're going to change the color of this, which remember was the double entity, to be escape, escape, escape. Remember that to deselect. We're going to grab that and make it to be blue. Do a couple more as we run out of 10 minutes. Grab something there and make it to be something odder, green. And later on you'll see one of the key things you're going to deal with when you get into 3D is things like textures. And textures can be either delivered or something you can make if you are into art, and make your own textures and drape and morph and do all kinds of cool, fun, artistic, creative, mathematical, however you want to term it, dealing with light and geometry, tessellations, tiling, whatever you want to call it. It's something that you'll have access to through other programs. We'll select one more odd color, pick one there, and we'll see how this comes in. All right, so now I'm going to do right again, File, Save As an 04 drawing, right? Remember to save as an 04. Yes, and this will be when we segue to SketchUp next. Thanks for listening. That's the second of two. We're making good progress. I'm going to stop it.